welcome to I forgot the name of the goddamn podcast.
Televised the TV movie story.
Televised the TV movie story.
You incompetent asshole.
Yep,
God.
that's me. That's me. Third week running. We're going with it. We're continuing on with we've decided, hey, we're gonna keep doing this podcast. And this week we're talking about Babes in Toyland from 1986, a Christmas movie. I at a certain point was like, oh shit, we're doing a Christmas movie that comes out about as far away from Christmas in the calendar year, a month afterwards. And yet, hey, lucky us,
Really?
not a Christmas movie.
I thought it premiered on like December 13th.
Yeah, I mean, the movie came out December 19th.
Oh,
The podcast episode
us.
comes out
Yeah.
January 21st or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
this is not. I was worried, like, oh, no one's gonna want to hear us talk about a Christmas movie. Good news, it's basically not a Christmas movie.
But
Uh,
honestly, it's like we did The Hangman. We do not really care what people want to listen
yeah,
to.
who cares? Fuck them.
Yeah.
No, thank you for listening to this podcast. Uh, yeah. So, for initial thoughts, what did you? What are your like baseline opinions about Babes in Toyland?
You know, it's weird. I kind of liked it. It's boring, but I kind of liked it.
I didn't kind of like it. But there were some moments and some elements to it that I was having of absolute riot with. There were a couple points where I like laughed out loud and kept laughing for a good few seconds afterwards, just because like there's some good stuff. There's some good. It's a bad movie. It's long. It's almost 2.5 hours, and we really should have just watched the shortened cut, the hour and a
For
half version.
context, for those listening, there is a hundred like so it originally aired like 140 minutes long, but then in release in international cinemas and also home video and also just later TV broadcasts, they shortened it down to a crisp 90 minutes. And but we both agreed to I just told Gordon about this
I mean,
and
I would have anyway.
we
I would
both
have watched
watched
the
we both watched the original TV cut because
because that's the pod.
that's the
This
podcast.
is the podcast discussion. That's
And
what it's about.
for a movie that has 50 minutes of extra footage,
Yeah,
eh,
which we didn't need. I wonder what was cut out. I'm not gonna watch the 90-minute version. Good God, no.
honest, I
But
I kind of feel like the 90-minute version would be better if we did
I'm
watch it
sure
though.
it would. I imagine a lot of that also would just be because it's a better video quality. And so you're at least like, hey, well, these costumes in this production, because it's for a kids movie made for TV, the production and the costumes and stuff like are fine. It doesn't look cheap, but
No,
the YouTube quality, like the image quality, just sort of lessens it and makes it harder experience to enjoy. Um, just to run down the specs of it here before we get into it. Babes in Toyland from 1986, directed by Clive Donner, written by Paul Zindel, who's like a playwright novelist. My mom really loves him and his books. He wrote, among other things, The Effect of Gamma Rays on Man of the Moon Marigolds, which
oh,
is at the very least a title you might know. But a bunch of stuff. He also did a quick tangent already. He did write some other movies and TV movies. He wrote the movie Up the Sandbox, the Barbara Streisand movie. He wrote Runaway Train. He wrote Mame, the Lucille Ball movie version. He also wrote a TV movie that I feel like we will probably end up doing. Alice in Wonderland in 1985. Is this on our
oh
list?
my. Yeah, this is definitely on the list. I think it's on one of our priorities, maybe.
Yes. Let me just read to you. And this is going to take up a good chunk of time in the podcast already. The cast list for this two-part miniseries from 1985, Alice in Wonderland, in alphabetical order as listed on Wikipedia. Sheila Allen, Steve Allen, Scott Baio, Ernest Borgnine, Beau Bridges, Lloyd Bridges, Red Buttons, Sid Caesar, Carol Channing, Imogene Coca, Sammy Davis Jr., Patrick Duffy, George Gobel, Edie Gourmet, Natalie Gregory, Merv Griffin, Sherman Hemsley, Aunt Jillian, Artie Johnson, Harvey Korman, Steve Lawrence, Carl Malden, Roddy McDowell, Jane Meadows, Donna Mills, Pat Morita, Robert Morley, Anthony Newley, Louis Nye, Donald O'Connor, Martha Ray, Telly Savalas, John Stamos, Ringo Starr, Sally Struthers, Jack Warden, Jonathan Winters, Shelley Winters.
At what point in there, I thought you said Joseph Goebbels.
Oh no, no, George Gobel, whoever that is. I don't. I. I mean, there's a handful of Alice in Wonderland TV movies, but this one, just looking at the cast, like who they all play, also, that'll be interesting to talk about. What's, I mean, I'm sure it'll be interesting to talk about Babes in Toyland, but not an interesting movie, not an interesting cast. Well, it's kind
It's an
of,
interesting cast.
there's some stuff to be had here.
Like you have
Uh,
Pat Morita and Keanu Reeves and Eileen Brennan and
Drew Barrymore,
Drew
obviously, as our
Barrymore, of
lead.
course.
Googy Gress. Can't leave out Googy Gress. Uh, Based on the 1903 operetta Second Tangent, I want to go on already. So I pulled up the Wikipedia page for the operetta Babes in Toyland, which, by the way, was written and produced by the same people who did the original Wizard of Oz stage musical, which you can tell in the way the plot works out for this version, because it's like, hey,
Yeah, it's very heavily
what if we
Ozian.
do Wizard of Oz? To the ending is straight up just Oz. But like they did the Wizard of Oz stage musical in 1903 and were like, holy shit, that made a bunch of money. Let's do Babes in Toyland later that same year. But I want to read to you the plot synopsis of the original 1903 version, which
Go
is
ahead.
very different. And this is from the Wikipedia page again. Orphans Alan and Jane are the wards of their wicked Uncle Barnaby, who wants to steal their inheritance. He arranges with two sailors, Gonzorgo and Roderigo, for them to be shipwrecked and lost at sea, but they are rescued by Romani people and returned to Contrary Mary's garden. Contrary Mary, the eldest daughter of the widow Piper, believing her beloved Alan is dead, has run away with her brother Tom Tom rather than agree to marry Barnaby. After a second attempt on their lives, Alan and Jane are abandoned in the forest of no return. In the spider's den, they are protected by the Moth Queen. Old Mother Hubbard's shoe is threatened with foreclosure by Barnaby. Weird, but like you can see the structure of that paralleled in the movie version, right?
Yes, and for a second, I thought you were reading the plot to the original Wizard of Oz musical.
No. Second paragraph, though. Alan and Jane arrive in Toyland, where they find Contrary Mary and Tom Tom and seek protection from the master toy maker, an evil genius who plots with Barnaby to create toys that kill and maim. The
Hmm.
demonically possessed dolls turn on the toy maker, killing him, and Barnaby uses the information to have Alan sentenced to death. Contrary Mary agrees to marry Barnaby in exchange for Alan's pardon, but after he marries her, Barnaby denounces Alan again. Barnaby dies after drinking a wine glass filled with poison meant for Alan. Tom Tom reveals that an old law of Toyland permitting marriage between a widow and a condemned man, on condition that he supports her, may save Alan from the gallows. Alan is now free to marry Contrary Mary. That's different from the
It's
movie
a
we
little
got.
different. Yeah.
A little different, I
Like this,
think.
I think that would have been better though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I want to see evil Pat Morita.
I want to see Pat Morita making evil toys that turn on him and kill him. I want to see this Barnaby guy drink poison and die.
Hmm. Oh God. Uh, but yeah, do I do want to say just so for these last two episodes, I did like research things about the movie, share some fun facts, but I couldn't really find anything to research about this one. So
Yeah.
I just wrote down a bunch of things from the Wikipedia or the IMDb trivia, and I'll share some of those throughout the episode.
Yeah. Uh, just to get through one last spec thing, because we named everyone in the cast basically, right? Drew
Yeah.
Barrymore,
Oh,
Richard Mulligan,
I
Eileen
don't think we
Brennan,
named
Keanu
Richard
Reeves.
Mulligan, but he is a guy that's apparently exists. I've
Yeah.
never heard of him before.
Jill Schoelen, Googie Gress, and Pat Morita. It was broadcast December 19th, 1986 at 8 p.m. up against Scarecrow and Mrs. King, an episode of that, an episode
Ooh.
of Dallas, an episode of Falcon Crest, all on CBS over the course of the 2.5 hour broadcast. On ABC, it was just football. And on USA, which was also a channel at this point now, there's 4 channels on TV. Something called Sanchez of Bel Air, which I've never heard of. An
It
episode of that.
the fact that all of these things are airing against Dallas really shows how popular Dallas was because they just throw on their garbage at this time slot.
Yeah, I mean, this was up against like this movie of the things on the 3 main channels had the lowest rating from what I could tell is of like people tuning in and watching the broadcast,
Was
which
Scarecrow and Mrs. King like a liked show back then?
I think so, I guess. I mean, it had better numbers than this Friday night or NBC Friday night movie, as it was called. It was whatever that is, which usually is Saturday night movies, but I guess they also tried Friday night movies
Yeah, it
with this
like
one.
on the last episode, it's like I saw that they were doing Saturday night movies, but then I guess they switched at some point.
Yeah, and then switched back. I don't know. Yeah, let's talk about Babes in Toyland. Bad movie.
Uh, I had fun. Like
I had
it's
fun with it at times, but just like from a like I don't want to dog on Drew Barrymore's acting because she was 11, and also like we know Drew Barrymore was going through it at this time. Like she was already smoking and drinking.
that
Uh,
leads me into my first piece of IMDb trivia.
yeah.
Uh,
All right.
Drew Barrymore was 11 years old during filming. She was also a regular at nightclubs, had been smoking for 2 years, and was beginning a dangerous flirtation with alcohol that would later extend to marijuana and cocaine. That's IMDb trivia, apparently.
For Babes in Toyland. Yeah. I'm not laughing at her struggle. Laughing at the
Uh,
fact that someone put that on IMDb as trivia about this movie.
yeah.
That's it also really makes the ending, not the ending where she wakes back up in real life, but like the big third act thing where it's like there's literal dialogue about how her character had to grow up too fast and never got to be a child, and she has to believe in the magic of toys and able to save the day.
Mhm.
And that was, with that in mind, really uncomfortable.
It's sad.
To put that in the context, like I'm happy that she's doing well now. Obviously, like all the best for Drew Barrymore. Uh, all that being said, this is a bad performance, and I don't put that on her, but I mean, a lot of the acting in this is pretty shoddy, but like this is not a good protagonist performance, and it makes the whole thing pretty unbearable
I
to
thought
watch.
she was fine. It's like
I mean, she's cute. She's like, she's charming as a like kid movie protagonist, but like there's a lot of really bad line readings that are just like, I don't know.
yeah, it's like I'm not gonna say this is any high art or anything. I don't even really like it that much, but I think there is enough that is fun and interesting about this to make me say I enjoyed this. And I would probably enjoy it more if we watched the 90-minute cut. But
I
I
can
won't
agree
do
with
that
that.
anytime. I won't watch it anytime soon, though.
Yeah, no, like there was stuff in here that like once just sort of resigned myself to like this is the movie that this is. I had fun with. I was like, yeah, I felt myself getting like sucked into its charms. And again, there were points where I did genuinely really laugh at the movie. But there's also just again, this is 145 minutes. There's a lot of time in this movie that I just was really, really bored out of my mind, or if not like actively miserable. Not miserable. That's going too far. That's doing too much for it. But like there's just stuff in this that I just really didn't care about and did not enjoy. And there's stuff I did. There's stuff I did enjoy. But it's a really slow moving. It takes like 15 minutes to get to Toyland, and a lot of that 15 minutes is spent on Drew Barrymore's older sister getting sexually harassed by her old boss.
Yeah, that is a really rough part.
Yeah. Uh,
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 and it
I
is
just,
followed by a song, the first song in the movie, which is an ode to Cincinnati, Ohio.
which gets it gets a reprise later in the movie as a big like come together moment where they just spell out Cincinnati and also feel the need to spell out Ohio, which is only four letters. You don't need to go that.
Ohio.
It's the it's the Maserati of Ohio, whatever that means.
And and it's like and with the first version, the first time it's sung, It ends abruptly when a tree falls.
No,
Keanu
not a tree falls. It's that Keanu Reeves loses control of the car and drives directly into a tree.
No, it we see it fall. We
Oh,
see it
does it fall?
fall,
Does
and
it
they swerve out of the way, which sends Drew Barrymore. She's flung out of the back of a car on a
lands on a
sled,
sled?
on her new sled that she's so excited to try
Oh,
out.
she's the one that hits the tree. Right.
Yeah, and then
That's the
she
visual.
slides backwards into another tree,
And then hallucinates the movie
and then
in
hallucinates the
a
movie.
la The Wizard of Oz. One thing while we're in the real world first, a couple. I mean, I wrote down a lot of lines in here that I thought were just like so jarringly written and or performed. The first note I have is when I wrote a couple lines about the sled actually. When her older sister was like, "Hey, I got you this sled," and Drew's character Lisa, I think, has sort of like a look on her face and then goes, "Oh, I think a sled's a terrific present. I love you." And just the way she delivers, I don't know, it was just like bad child acting, which is not the fault of the child, but it was still just like we're in for a lot of this. And then the other one I wrote down is when they're leaving the toy store after almost getting locked in by evil boss. The sister says, "Get that seatbelt around the sled." Only the way she pronounces sled throughout the movie, it sounds like she's saying slut. So I did think she said, "Get that seatbelt around the slut," and just like talking about her boyfriend Keanu Reeves. And then yeah, song about Cincinnati, song cut off like ab abruptly cut off by the car crash. And then yeah, she gets sucked into a little hole of light and zaps into Toyland.
Just imagine if, like in Wizard of Oz, it's like in the middle of her singing Over the Rainbow is when the tornado hits, and
Not
she
even
just
when the tornado, it's like when the house lands. It's like so instantaneous. It's like, where you'll find me, bam, Oz. Like, because it's like not even at a natural conclusion in the song. It's like it
it is
feels
in
like
the
it's like
middle of the song.
yeah. It's so it's one of the first times where I had a laugh out loud moment that I can't tell if they were trying to make a joke or to make dramatic.
I don't think it
Uh,
was trying to be a joke,
Okay.
unfortunately.
There are actual jokes, like actual jokes that I did laugh at occasionally, but that one I did. Uh, Next note I have in my notes, just going chronologically, these fursuit costumes are unsettling because a lot of Toyland is populated by animals that don't talk and are just people in giant, like teddy bear costumes. And I guess maybe they're supposed to be toys on
Yeah,
account of Toyland.
it's all
So they
like
are like
toys and nursery
teddy
rhyme
bears.
characters.
But like some of them are just like animals,
Yeah.
like that are just animal people. But yeah, it was an unsettling thing to have just these dead-eyed like giant bears with zippers on their backs and no like because they don't talk. They don't have movable mouths. So it's just like dead-eyed, emotionless, unmoving bear faces looking at you, just like scattered amongst like fucking Little Red Riding Hood and several different Jacks on account of that's how every boy in every nursery rhyme is named Jack,
Yeah.
including Keanu Reeves as Jack
He's
Be Nimble. That's the Jack that he is.
yeah.
No candlesticks to be found to jump over, so we don't really get to see the full breadth of his expertise in this
Although
movie. But
Googy Gress is Georgie Porgy.
and he does well, he doesn't kiss the girls and make them cry either, but he does eat a lot and get called fat by like everyone, including his friends. So
And
that's his whole deal.
fun fact about Googie Gress, he and Drew Barrymore both appeared in Wayne's World 2, 1993, and He's Just Not That Into You, 2009.
Thank you,
Thank you,
IMDb.
IMDb trivia.
Thank you, the Internet Movie Database, for telling us that. This movie had a lot of connections like that, which, you know, at the very least, it's that, and it's not like Drew Barrymore and Googie Gress both appeared in movies based on characters in the Marvel Comics universe, and that's interesting. Like, they weren't even in this, like, at least it wasn't that. At least it wasn't Drew Barrymore is in Batman Forever. Keanu Reeves is in Constantine. Those are both DC properties. That's trivia.
Though we
which a
do have,
lot of IMDb will too.
since you're talking about that, we do have Eileen Brennan and Keanu Reeves both went on to co-star in movies with Sandra Bullock. Brennan
That's
appeared in
nothing. No, I'm sorry. I'm
Brennan
sorry.
appeared in Miss Congeniality 2, Armed and Fabulous, and Reeves co-starred with Bullock in Lake House and in Speed.
That's not. No, no, no. I don't think that's trivia, actually. Like, and also Sandra Bullock once shared an elevator with Drew Barrymore. Like, that's not. That's nothing. That's not trivia. I'm sorry. Um. What? Okay, so the plot of the movie. Let's talk about plot. Let's do a rundown. Do you want to do a rundown of? Do you remember the plot of Babes in Toyland that
I
you watched?
remember
I think
that
today.
I did watch it before I went to sleep yesterday.
Okay.
But I just remember thinking it was basically Wizard of Oz. Like you have the evil guy who was trying to marry the girl, and then Drew Barrymore steps in, was like, no. And
I
then
annul this marriage because she doesn't love him. And
and
it does very much fall into the like, if you have anything to say as a reason as to why these two should not be wed, and just like, well, if someone says something, then the wedding is off just like automatically. Like, well, someone objected. Sorry, guys, you can't get married. Uh, but
uh
luckily, she doesn't want to get married. That's the whole thing. She's in love with Jack
Keanu
B.
Reeves.
Nimble. 'Cause she's Mary, Mary, quite contrary. She doesn't grow a garden. None of the fucking fairy tale people in this movie do their goddamn fairy tale thing. Like old
What
Mother
was
Hubbard
it?
lives in a cupboard. She doesn't. She lives in the shoe. They got the shoe that the little old lady who lived in the shoe used to live in and moved out of. I did like that joke that she had so many kids that she had to move into a pair of boots. That was good. That made me giggle. But like nobody else does their goddamn fairy tale thing.
That's unfortunate.
CinemaSins, ding,
Ding.
ding. But no, so the plot of the movie is Barnaby Barnicle, who's not a fairy tale guy, but is, at least a carryover from the other versions of this, wants to be evil and take over Toyland by marrying Mary. I guess just so that his nephew Jack can't marry her and some sort of arbitrary rule about turning 21. I don't know. I don't care. And then when the marriage doesn't happen, he frames Jack B. Nimble for ruining a bunch of cookies and stealing them, so that he can basically get Jack sent to jail. There's also something where he wants to foreclose on the boot on the shoe, I guess. And he keeps trying to get Jack out of the way so he can marry Mary. And then the toy maker is there and he's trying to make toys. And I don't even really know what is supposed to be happening. But eventually they stop Barnaby and she goes home. That's
Yeah.
basically it. There's no reason for it to be 2.5 hours with such a just like there's a lot of and now Jack is gone and out of the way. And now Jack's back. And now Jack is gone. And now Jack's back. And now everyone's gone. And now we're gonna get them all back. And now we're gonna bring a bunch of toy soldiers to banish Barnaby because now everyone realizes he's evil, even though he looks evil and lives in a bowling ball, I guess, and is followed around by a couple of Nosferatus and stuff.
Oh my God, the weird henchmen people.
The just like grabble, grabble, grabble.
I loved them but hated them at the same
Yeah,
time.
could have done with less of them. You know what we could have done with more of is a clown. Would this movie have been better if there was a clown in it?
What do I mean? Honestly, I don't think I would have noticed the clown. It's
There may be a clown. I don't know. Is
there
the thing actually?
like I think you know what? I think there should have been a clown in the live action scenes and then just bring the clown into the fantasy world, but he's just exactly the same.
Yeah. I wish this was animated. You said live action, and I was like,
Oh yeah,
man,
you know what I meant though, like the real world.
yeah, the real world. I think any fantasy movies are should be technically considered animated. I think anything that's not grounded in real life, Inception, animated movie. Star Wars, animated movie.
I mean, with Inception, it's well, actually no, not with Inception because a lot of that's practical.
Yeah. Fucking The Wizard of Oz, the original. That's an animated movie. Uh,
True.
no, where was I going with that? Oh, the
I don't think you're
Nosferatus.
going
Oh
in.
yeah, about how like Barnaby is so clearly evil. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have a closing thought on that, but like he gets banished into the woods of nighttime where all the nighttime is because they saved so much time, so much daylight with daylight savings time that there's no need for nighttime anymore, which I thought was also a pretty funny joke. Or maybe I was just grasping at straws at that point because that's like an hour into the movie, and we've already had an entire musical number of hooray, hooray, Lisa saved the day. We stopped the bad guy from doing what he wants to do. Thank you for saving us. You're the hero, and you solved the problem. And that's like
Again,
40
this is just
minutes into the movie.
a ding dong, the witch is dead.
Yeah, very much. When do we get the big musical about how when he was in college, Barnaby was actually a nice, cool, good guy who was maybe gay, uh, and and only became evil by circumstance? When do we get uh, Barnacle, the wicked allegory here?
Oh man, yes. God, we should really make that. Like
Yeah,
we who have like such good musical writing talent, we should
exactly.
make that movie where Richard Mulligan and Eileen Brennan were friends at school and
Yeah, Pat Morita
oh
is
yeah, Pat Morita
he
too.
gets to be the actual evil one from the original operetto where he's making the evil toys.
The
Uh,
the toys killed Barnacle's boyfriend.
exactly. Honestly, I feel like you could make an actually good, interesting Babes in Toyland movie now. I think it's a proper like it has enough name recognition. There's been enough versions. There's the Laurel and Hardy one. There's the Annette Funicello one from the '60s. There's this. Like this is a property that like has name recognition but doesn't really have a definitive version. I feel like someone could make this and make it interesting.
Yeah, I think you could honestly there you could definitely make a good like queer allegory with Barnacle. Like
Yeah. Oh, I just mean like a regular, just like full on adaptation of the property
and I mean, to be
as it
fair,
stands.
we haven't seen the other versions.
Yeah.
One of those might be good.
I've seen the Laurel and Hardy one
Oh,
when I was a kid, a couple
oh,
times, I think. But it's one of those things where like movies that you watch as a kid that are like on TV and to you feel like the longest thing in the like that and Anti-Mame, I remember both being on TV and watching them and being like, this feels like it's taken 5 hours out of my day. Not in like a I'm so bored way, but in a like, well, I don't know how time works because I'm five. So by my estimation, this is probably like the longest movie that's ever existed. Even though I'm pretty sure that Babes in Toyland is like 90 minutes.
yeah.
But like I just remember like, well, this is a thing that just keeps going, and this story is forever. But I don't have any actual memory of it, of like watching it to the point that when I looked it up this morning, I looked up Babes in Toyland, Abbott and Costello. I didn't even remember which one it was. But then once I saw it was Laurel and Hardy, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I feel like there is a version of this that can be done now, even in like a Nutcracker in the Four Realms type, like big, weird,
God, I love that
ostentatious,
movie.
like I haven't seen it, but just from what I have seen of it, like you could do that, but with Babes in Toyland and make it something. Um,
God, I
Unlike
just want to
this,
watch that now.
yeah,
That
this is
I saw that movie in theaters. It was amazing. It was I was all by myself. No one
hell
else in the
yeah.
theater.
Can I tell you the two jokes like one right after another that made me like actually really genuinely laugh?
Please do.
They're both Eileen Brennan, who is not nearly in this movie enough. I I mean I love Eileen Brennan in general. I really was hoping she would be in this more because she was delightful every time she showed up. But it's her like scene where she's meeting Drew Barrymore's character and they're introducing her and she's introducing all her kids and she's like, well, that's little boy Blue and that's Jack and Jill and that's Little Red Riding Hood and all this stuff. And then one of them walks up and she goes, I forget who this one is. Just like the way she delivers that so matter of factly, I'm just like, I don't know who you are, child. Oh well, on with you. Just sort of like as it goes, and then she turns to her daughter, Mary Contrary, uh, and it's like, oh, I had something I wanted to tell you, and she like has this big, long piece of paper that she's like rifling through to see what it was. And she's like, oh, yes, okay, number 11. How dare you not marry Mr. Bar? Just like so matter of factly reading out from a piece of paper her like you would like, how dare you not marry? But it's like, how? She's just reading it. Just that delivery, I thought was so funny. Of just reading it out like a list item, and then goes to somewhere else on the paper to read her retaliation. I thought that was really good. Also, I didn't write this one down on my notes, but I did also laugh at where they're like, "Oh, well, why don't you marry him, Mom? Because he's rich and we need the money." And she goes, "Oh yeah, we do need the money. I had been thinking about maybe selling off my kids, not all of them, but like some of them, maybe the younger ones." And they're like, "No, Mom, you can't sell your kids." And she goes, "Oh well, it's just an idea I had." Just sort of like muttering it to herself as she walks away. Like, fine, I guess I won't sell my children. Jeez. Eileen Brennan. My literal word for word note that I wrote down. Eileen Brennan, thank God for you. Just like,
Yeah, she is really good in this. She is probably the best part of it.
oh yeah, like if she was in it more, I would be like, this is worth watching for the Eileen Brennan performance. But she's just not in it very much, and it's a shame, because she's really good. I will say, I mean, I said my problems with the Drew Barrymore performance. I don't think that Keanu Reeves or Jill Schoelen are all that interesting presence. I mean, I like Keanu because it's Keanu, but like the performance he's giving isn't really anything. Pat
Yeah.
Morita's fine as the toy maker, and he's charming, and it's nice to see him as like a Santa Claus type. But Richard Mulligan as Barnaby is pretty fun. That's a fun, just like sort of campy, like truly genuinely campy in as that is intended to be used. Big
I
villain who wants to be just a big villain, and I enjoyed him.
I really didn't care for him. Like I wanted more. I just felt
Yeah,
like his heart wasn't in it, you know?
that's fair. I did his musical number was the one musical number that I thought was actually something in this monster piece where he's talking about how he wants to make monsters and they'll be his monster piece. I thought that was fun. I was the one song in the movie. Sorry, I just saw another joke that made me really laugh in my notes. But no, I thought that song worked well in a way that like the others, I couldn't tell you anything about any of the other songs other than Cincinnati, and one that I only is notable because of the way it ends. But like Monster Piece was fun. Um, Other notes. Okay.
I have some
Uh,
IMDb trivia that is
yeah,
absolutely nothing.
hit
Uh,
me.
First, we have Richard Mulligan, Eileen Brennan, and Pat Morita had all previously guest starred on The Love Boat.
Nothing. That's
And
not fair.
then Drew Barrymore's character Lisa is 11 years old, which was the exact same age Barrymore was herself at the time of filming.
No, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's not trivia. I'm sorry. You can do better than that.
Uh,
I've been on you before, IMDb. I know you're better than that.
and there, I just want to be clear. There was a lot more IMDb trivia than I am listing here. I am only listing the ones that I thought were funny.
Yeah, no, it's nothing.
I only have
Um,
one more left, which is
okay.
the most interesting one, but I will
I
save that for later.
Yeah. Another joke that I wrote down that made me chuckle is when the constable or the judge is sentencing Jack to prison for the frame job that his uncle Barnaby set him up for of stealing all the cookies from the cookie factory. When they're like, no, but that's not fair. It wasn't him. He's innocent. And he goes, that's the way the cookie factory crumbles. Little joke.
These
I,
these
the
fucking
joke
puns.
itself is not funny, but his sort of self-pleased like little joke at the end where he says little joke at the end. I thought that was funny. Um and that so the a lot of the Cincinnati stuff is really nothing. One of my notes is do you think Sinsuwatsky is ever going to be funny? Because that's what Barnaby keeps calling her. Sinsuwatsky. Dumb. Um but there's a point where in order to distract the judge so that Georgie Porgy can steal the keys to the prison cell, she pulls him aside and starts talking about Cincinnati. And then it cuts away to Georgie Porgy breaking him out of jail, and it cuts back, and she's like, and then Pete Rose hit 4,000. It's like telling the story of Pete Rose and how he got to be king of Cincinnati, which in and of itself is fine. But then later in the movie, they're in the toy maker's home talking, just like they've built him up as this great figure all this time. He makes all the toys for Santa, this one guy. But there's a point where she mentions, oh no, it's that Keanu and Googy Gress are trying to remember the name of the city where she said she's from, and they're like, since something, and Pat Morita goes, Cincinnati. I know about that. You must be so proud of Pete Rose.
God bless you, Pete Rose.
You must be so proud of it. Which is like doubly funny because it was only a few years after this movie when he got busted for the gambling and like betting on his own games, and is the reason why he's still not allowed in the MLB Hall of Fame.
Mhm.
But just it's so funny that like that's the cultural touchstone for Cincinnati, Ohio, is Pete Rose,
Mhm.
which like obviously like he was, a legend and a like a big figure, but just that like, oh, I've heard of Cincinnati. You must be so proud of that Pete Rose. It's so good. There's no reason for that to be in this. There's no reason for any of the Cincinnati stuff to be such a runner in this movie. But that line was enough to justify there being two entire songs about Cincinnati, Ohio in your Babes in Toyland
I
movie.
I need to look up if either the director or writer was from Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Clive Donner
like,
is British.
yeah,
Let's see, Paul Zindel.
see from Cincinnati.
He lived and died in New York.
Okay, well, I wonder where this is from then. Wonder why it's since, because like the movie was shot in like Germany.
Yeah.
I don't. It's so weird.
Like
It's so.
who gives a shit about Cincinnati in this
I know.
production? And it's like
I
the songwriter Leslie Briscuse is also British. He wrote the fucking Doctor Dolittle soundtrack, won an Oscar for that shit.
crazy. Um. Oh, I wrote down. I meant to say lock the judge in jail in my notes, but I wrote down lock the prison in jail. Sure. Definitely not Drew Barrymore singing. It's. I mean, I think Keanu was also dubbed, but like that is definitely the singing voice of a 30-year-old woman coming out of 11-year-old Drew Barrymore. There's no nighttime or traffic jams, but there is still enough of a cookie economy for scarcity and deficit to be a thing that is worthy of putting him in jail. Like there's like the reason that Barnaby is like, oh, well, the reason why he stole all the cookies from the factory that he owns is he wanted to drive up the prices. He wanted there to be a scarcity. For more on that, look up Keanu Reeves inflation on your work computer.
Honestly,
Uh,
I don't think there's gonna be anything for that.
you'd be surprised.
I am gonna
Uh,
Google that right now.
don't look that up. Um, I like the point where Georgie Porgy like tries to fess up to breaking Keanu out of jail, like, oh, it was me, to like save Lisa or whatever, and I was the brains behind it. And the judge goes, you couldn't be the brains behind a cup of coffee. I thought that was just like, man, we're really sticking it to fucking Georgie Porgy in this movie. But I thought that was fun. The dubbing is bad. Yeah, I'm already like running through my notes
Can't
here.
find anything about Keanu Reeves inflation.
Oh well. There was okay. When I mentioned that there was one song that was only memorable by the way it ends, there was a song near the end where uh Keanu and Mary Contrary have been kidnapped or whatever, and they're being held in the forest or maybe in the bowling ball. I don't know. And Georgie Porgy is like, well, you gotta come help me save them. And that's the point in the story where Drew has to be like, well, do I want to stay here in Toyland or do I want to go back to my home? I'm gonna have a real like crisis over this. She has a whole entire song sung by someone else
Mhm.
that's like just in one close-up shot of her standing in the middle of the street, like where do I want to
And
should I go help? And then it ends, and immediately she's like, I'm going with you. My mind is made up. Like there's no actual soul searching after the song. It's like, where should I go? What should I do? I've decided. I'm going. Just
and
like
I'm
there's nothing to actually prompt that. It's just
I'm pretty sure that's a song from the original operetta. Like that's one of
that
the two.
that would make sense because it's out of place tonally with the other songs. It's no Cincinnati. It's no Monster Piece. But it was just really funny to have that and immediately have the song is all about the question and like a real like what is my character motivation going to be, and then with it goes immediately to I have made a decision without any like anything to push her towards a decision other than we gotta have. I mean, I'm not asking for a big character piece in Babes in Toyland, a movie for babies, but like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that was almost something worth noting. Almost.
After Googling Keanu Reeves inflation, that reminds me of another piece of IMDb trivia.
Oh boy, that's a transition that I am scared of.
No,
Continue.
it's just the last piece I wrote down.
Okay.
While Keanu Reeves was in Munich filming this movie, he learned
Oh
how to
yeah.
ride a motorcycle. Well, he asked a young woman who drove an Enduro if she could teach him. When he returned to the US, he got his first motorcycle. He had a passion for motorcycles ever since.
Hell yeah. Doesn't isn't that a thing where like on every movie he makes now he gives a motorcycle to like someone in the crew?
I'm
Like
pretty
that's
sure. And it's like it started with Babes in Toyland.
hey, it's
And
not all bad.
and it is something I thought about when I watched Sonic 3 yesterday, and it and it featured Shadow riding a motorcycle, and it's like, hey, Keanu Reeves learned how to ride a motorcycle while filming Babes in Toyland.
It's all connected. It all circles back. My last note that I have written down, there was a I don't know what was happening here, but there's a point near the end where they have Barnaby captured or something. They have all the people that because like he made a bunch of monsters that are like trash blobs, and there's a big fight with them and the giant person-sized wooden soldiers, and there's a big brawl in the streets.
Hmm.
But there's a point where Drew is like trying to plead with the monsters, like, it was Barnaby's fault. Barnaby was the one that made you evil like this. No one else. And the line no one else is like pitched up like five like I don't know why, but like I went back to be like, was it just like a weird like I pressed something wrong or whatever? But like no, just that one line, no one else is like pitch shifted up really high for no reason. I don't know.
It's for comedic effect, Gordon.
It
Gosh.
wasn't. No, no. I disagree. Um,
Don't you know that this is funny?
it is funny. It has the line, "You must be so proud of Pete Rose." I'm not disagreeing. It's a funny movie. Are you proud of Pete Rose, Eliza?
Uh, I would be if I was from Cincinnati, but I do not really even know where on Ohio Cincinnati is.
I don't either. I just know it's there. I don't know if I've been, is the thing. I
And
may have been to Cincinnati. I might not have. I'm not sure.
I heard the name Pete Rose before, but I wouldn't have been able to tell you he played for the Cincinnati Reds. So
I wouldn't have known the team either, actually. I just know he's a baseball player that like
gambled.
very yeah, very famously like got banned from Major League Baseball for gambling when he was a player and a coach, and is like I mean, he died like a few months ago, I think. But like still is like banned from ever being inducted into the Hall of Fame and is like a real point of contention because other people have been. I think there's like other people that like I don't know. I don't know the full story. I'm not a sports person in general. So like I just sort of know what I've gathered from other people talking about it. But I know that Pete Rose is a touchy figure as far as like uh, uh legacy. But
Hmm.
I don't know. It's like you must be so proud of OJ or whatever. Just like this movie is before obviously different
Very
situation.
different from
Very
OJ.
different situation, but it's just like, oh, before the time of the big scandal that would come to define the rest of their legacy, it's just kind of a funny thing to have that line with the context of just a few years later.
Mhm.
Do you have anything else you want to say about
I
Babes in
literally have
Toyland?
nothing. Like I so my three notes. It's just
Oh,
like
three. Okay.
my the first note was, wow, I wonder if perhaps some of these real world actors will play parallel characters into some fictional reality because it was already very obviously going to just be Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Second was about the Cincinnati song. And third was like midway through the movie where I was just like, this movie is just Drew Barrymore faffing around in Nursery Rhyme Land.
Yeah.
Or I guess
Yeah.
I should have said Toyland when I was writing it down because, that's the title, but
But you were making reference to the fact that it's like all of the named characters other than the villain and the judge are nursery rhyme like it's Jack B. Nimble, it's Mary Contrary, it's Old
yeah.
Mother Hub no, not Old Mother Hubbard. Is that the
It
name of
it is Mother Hubbard, yeah. Uh
right, yes. She's Widow Hubbard who then moves into the shoe of the little old lady who lived in the shoe. Right,
yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
Um
and it's just like if this is Toyland, why not just make everybody a fucking toy?
At
Like,
least like that is also from the source material. Like it is Contrary Mary and Old
well,
Mother
the
Hubbard. Like
source
those are
material is stupid. Have we considered this?
I think we've considered that a lot of this is stupid. Uh
But yeah, it should be like, and honestly, you should like make when you make Babes in Toyland, you should make all the characters toys and update the toys to modern days. Like
well that's just Toy
make
Story.
true, but
Now you're just
also
talking about
like
Toy Story.
but this is before Toy Story, so it would be original if they did it then. And it's like just make fucking Keanu Reeves a G.I. Joe or something and make
Keanu Reeves is in a Toy Story doing kind of that.
he is in Toy Story 4 as fucking Canuck or whatever.
What is his name? He's like a daredevil. He's
Yeah,
like
it's
Duke Kaboom.
Duke
Why do
Kaboom.
I know that?
Yeah, it's like I was trying because his name has something related to Canada in it because that's his whole thing, and it's because Kaboom is spelled C-A.
Oh, right. I don't think I knew that. I don't think I picked up on that part of it. But wow, there's a lot of songs. I guess it being an operetto would make sense that there are a lot of songs in it, but just like looking at the Wikipedia page for the operetta, there's a lot of songs in
Mhm.
this. One of them is Military Ball. Okay.
Wait, are you
Birth of the
looking at the
Butterfly.
original one?
The original just it's the musical numbers for the in general. Uh yeah, it looks like this is I don't know, there's a lot. Don't Cry Bo Peep, parentheses, never mind Bo Peep, we will find your sheep. That's a whole song. There's one, Maybe the Moon Will Help You Out.
Maybe the moon will help make this movie better.
There's a cut number from the original version, The Health Food Man. Health food, all one word.
Health food
Uh,
man.
that one's sung by Gonzorgo and Rodrigo. So this movie could have used a Gonzorgo and Rodrigo. The fucking Nosferatus are just named Mac and Zach. That's stupid.
That is very stupid.
Uh, one of the actor Rolf Nee, who plays Zach, has a Wikipedia page. Let me read to you his entire Wikipedia page. Rolf Nee, born 16 August 1949 in Bern, is a Swiss painter and actor. In that's there's not a like sidebar on the side that has like a picture and dates about like born whatever. Just like literally just one sentence with one reference to a culture article from 1991. Uh, oh, I guess there's a corresponding article in German. Okay, that has a lot more to it. It's just the English Wikipedia does not have anything else about him. Okay, that's at least okay. That's fair. Um, yeah, I
Mhm.
got nothing else about Babes in Toyland.
Yeah, there is not really anything to say else.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah. Um, do you have any fun final things?
not really. We didn't talk about Pat Morita because there's not much to talk about, but he's fun in this,
I,
looking like Santa Claus, even though Santa Claus is established as being a separate guy.
yeah. It's like he's still the toy maker. It's like
Yeah.
I feel like it's very clearly meant to be a Santa Claus type guy.
There's like an thrown away line that like, well, you got to be pretty special to be the person that Santa Claus entrusts to make every toy every year. Like he is no elves. All of Santa's toy making is outsourced to this one guy in Toyland, which I guess makes sense. If you want to get your toys from somewhere, you would want it to be Toyland. But like, yeah, I don't know. There's maybe a joke there to be made about getting a toy that on the bottom has a sticker that says "Made in Toyland," but uh get it because it sounds like Thailand, and that's like made in. I don't know. I didn't have a joke
Oh, that
there
was the
at all.
joke of that?
That was the
What?
joke I was making.
Oh, okay.
No, that's not the joke. I don't think that's the joke of the operetto written in 1903.
I
That
mean,
it's a joke about toys being made overseas. I don't think that's the joke of the original.
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they did make a, or if that was like a thing, maybe. I don't know. I
I
don't
don't know. It was a half-assed joke that was nothing. Um, yeah, I I'm real. We just recorded the Hanged Man episode right before this, and in between we recorded the introduction episode that like before the podcast actually came out. So we've been doing this for like a couple hours now, and I'm tired and out of it, and just like I got nothing else to say.
know.
I
Okay.
am
I will do something though.
yes.
Uh, so in one of our pre-season like talk sessions, we played the letterbox game, which is a variation on the
Yes.
IMDb game where you just try to guess what the top five movies on an actor's IMDb page is, or letterbox page, sorry. And so Drew, what are,
Oh, Drew
sorry,
Barrymore's.
Gordon, I was gonna
Oh,
ask, what are the top five on Drew Barrymore's page? I am
I
I'm also out of it, clearly.
that's fair. I'm gonna say E.T. is one of them.
E.T. is one of them.
Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko is number one. E.T. is number
Okay.
three, I should say.
The thing with Letterboxd is it's just based on popularity, so I'm just trying to remember like what are the most popular movies that she is in. So Batman Forever.
Batman Forever is number eight.
Okay. Um, Never Been Kissed.
Never Been Kissed. That's lower. That is number 12.
Yeah. It also skews a lot more recent, but she hasn't been in a lot of movies recently
I I will
that I can.
say two of these are from 2020s, and they're both one of them is an uncredited cameo, one of them is a credited cameo.
Oh, I fully don't know what those are then.
Ju- You have one more in the top three
Uh,
that you will definitely be able to get if you can remember.
oh, Charlie's Angels.
No, that's
No.
number seven.
Oh, the is one of them the Charlie's Angels remake? Did she have a cameo in that? Is
No.
that the no?
Well, if she did, it is not very high on this.
Okay.
Uh, it does
One
not seem so.
okay, one that I should be able to get
Very
though.
famous. Like
I guess I'm not as familiar with. Is it a 90s
it
movie?
is a 90s movie. So this one, so like all three of the ones that you have left are horror movies.
Oh, right, Scream.
Yes.
I
And,
never I mean I think about that. I don't know. I just wasn't thinking about that specifically. But yeah, of course it's
and
Scream.
I will say
Is one
there,
of them a Scream
yeah, it's there's also Scream 2022, and it's like she's apparently principal and party guest voice uncredited.
sure. Okay.
But and
Uh
I feel like you're probably not going like so I told you horror movie already, and it
yeah.
also came out this year,
Oh boy. From like 2024 horror movie
2024.
that Drew Barrymore has a credited cameo in.
Yes, she has a one scene role in this.
Oh, I'm sure I just don't know
And she
what it
also plays
is.
herself. And she does her
It,
talk show.
oh, is it? I don't know this. What is it?
It is Smile 2.
Sure. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's what I like you said we played this in some of those calls that we made planning out the podcast. I don't think this is like a sustainable like end of the episode just because so much of it is there's not an algorithm to play. Like it's
There's
just sort of
very
like
much an
it's
algorithm.
an it's an algorithm, but it's like just knowing statistics rather than like the weird unknowable algorithm of what shows up on IMDb for the IMDb game. This it's just like, do you know the movies that the most people on Letterboxd have logged that happen to have this person in them? And it's a fun
I
game for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know about making it like an always end of the episode. I'm sure we can
I'm
find
not
it.
saying always.
Yeah,
I was just like, if there's one, this is not ending up as a long episode. So I
fair,
just like something to
fair.
pad the runtime a bit. And two, we have some big actors in this, so might as
Yeah,
well like use one of them for this. And I was going to do Keanu, but it's like you have Matrix, like two John Wicks, and then something else.
yeah. I mean, probably again, Toy Story 4 because that's a
Yeah, Toy
movie
Story 4.
that like it skews so like movies that came out while Letterboxd was a thing are just automatically going to be buffed up in the numbers because it's a lot of people logging it immediately after seeing it in the theater
Yeah, it's like
or what have you.
this is Keanu Reeves' top 10. Matrix, John Wick 4, Toy Story 4, John Wick 2, John Wick 3, Matrix Reloaded, Dracula, Matrix 4, Matrix 3.
Yeah, not as interesting. But yeah, that was fun with Drew. Sorry, I'm just so tired right now. But at some point soon, let's
So,
plug next. Let's
yeah,
plug next week. One that
we've
we're
been
both
so
very
excited
excited.
for.
Which I'm sure is also not going to be good.
It
I
should
don't.
at least be more fun than either The Hanged Man or Babes in Toyland.
Yes, and like more fun than Gia because Gia's not like a fun movie, but
But that
it's a
was at least a very good movie.
yes, it was a good movie. Langoliers is not going to be good. But it's the Langoliers. It's a two-part miniseries like we mentioned at some point. Um, who else is in that other than Dean Stockwell, actually?
We
It's
have Bronson Pinchot,
right.
Pinchot. I
I
forget
think
how to
it's been
pronounce
show.
Pinchot.
Tom Holland, not that Tom Holland,
Yeah,
different Tom Holland.
Stephen King and Tom Holland have cameos.
Yes. Anyone? Oh, Frankie Faison, David Morse,
Ooh,
Patricia Wettig. I don't know. Oh, from 30 something, I guess. Sure. John Griesemer. Maybe a name I guess not. Mark Lindsay Chapman, not to be confused with Mark David Chapman. Uh,
although Mark Lindsay Chaplin was in the Mark David Chapman movie. He played John Lennon.
oh, that's weird. Why would like that seems like a poor decision of casting. Sure, okay. Mark Lindsay, that's strange. Um, anyway, okay. Let's I don't have a close
We have to plug
I
things,
yes, we still don't have social media set up at the time of recording for this
but
podcast, but if you're listening to it, you know where to find it by virtue of the fact that you have found it so far. So, find it the places where you found it to begin with. Share like I don't know where I never tell people on my
what? Yeah, I was like, why are you telling
podcast
people to
like
share and like
I don't know. It just sort
retweet?
of came out. Yeah, like rate us, I guess. That's other podcasts I listen to tell people to rate them 5 stars.
Like and
Uh,
subscribe and hit that bell to be
yeah, I don't know.
notified.
It's a podcast and it's over now. Goodbye.
Goodbye.